when you start speaking in a language that people don't speak, they resent that. And if you start speaking like NPR, you're going to lose votes. So I tell people there's one term that I just don't like the term communities of color. I don't know what the hell it means. So I live in New Orleans. So they got three guys on the street corner. I said, hey, fellas, how are things in the community of color today? They said, what's this son of a bitch talking about?
Seriously,
Jive-ass bastard out of here. All right? Talk to address people like they address each other. And we started on this coded language, and we let it get away from us. And people, it hurt us. And it's what I call coastal condensation, that we know what's best for you. Don't eat hamburgers, don't watch football, don't drink beer. Guess where our young male number is going? In the toilet. All right? Because Democratic messaging, I'm sorry, is too feminine. It just is.
Okay, James.
Democratic messaging has probably became too feminine, and I think this has been a recurring theme that I think I've been mentioning on this channel a lot, and many people are chiming in. Honestly, James Cardwell, who is known as a Democratic strategist, he's the one who coined the phrase "It's the economy, stupid." This guy. So he did a interview with I would say a very feminine man. And he starts complaining about the messaging that the Democrats are doing is coded language, aka it's these languages like Linux, Latina X, Latin X, or whatever they make up these terms, right? And it's almost like this expected, like educated, cultural elitist type of language where, oh look, I'm using the proper pronouns, I'm doing this, I'm doing, and I don't know. I feel like this kind of language that never really gravitated to me, and maybe this is the case. Maybe it's just too feminine for me. Maybe I. What the Democrats focus on, and I always said this on my channel, is that they focus on emotional messaging, right? And it seemed like apparent, like many people are saying this. This is from May 2nd, 2024. Have Democrats given up on men? And in recent interviews with New York Times columnist Maureen Dowd, Democratic tactician James Carwell lamented his party's refusal to accept appeal to the male vote. Now, if there was a party out there, let's say the Democrats didn't appeal to the female vote, people would have called it sexist, all this stuff. And now, look, I'm not complaining because I think this is opportunity for Republicans to really capitalize on this. This is why, there's articles. I remember a long time ago, feminists were saying that if you work out, it's toxic masculinity. Women complaining about how they can't find eligible men. Liberal women are like, oh, I wish I could find a progressive man, but he has conservative values. And everyone's like, oh, you want to pick and choose what you want in a male partner. If you listen to the Democratic elites, NPR in my go-to place for that, the whole talk about how women and women of color are going to decide this election, I'm like, well, 48% of the people that vote are male. Do you mind if they have some consideration? And this is what I've been noticing. It seems like there's an overemphasis, just like everything that the left do. They do too much of it, right? The women in tech stuff, men are participating in college at the same rate as women, and then years down the line, women are complaining that there's not enough eligible men available in the dating market. Oh, wow, there's not a lot of men that are college educated. They're falling behind. But they don't do anything to cater to that messaging, right? And then a lot of conservatives are saying, hey, men, don't go to school. Why go to a place that sees you as an enemy, sees you as a threat to everyone in the campus? Like, who wants to be associated? Who wants to get that negative messaging? Because we all know if there was an area or a place where they treated women like they're the worst thing since sliced bread, a very hostile environment, women will be raising holy hell for someone to do something about it. While men are like, we just walk away. We just walk away from it. We don't want to deal with it anymore. And I think a lot of men are making a conscious decision not to go to college for the primary reason of that is that they're seen as enemy numero uno. And I think that kind of messaging really pushes men off. And a lot of men that seem to vote Democrat, they seem to come off like they're the type of men that would identify as a male feminist. They're men that will be seen as dorks, nerds. I saw a woman online like lamenting this. She's like, oh my God. Like, I don't know. I don't know what a prototypical liberal man would look like, but here's an example that I found online. Let's take a look.
Democrat or a Republican?
I'll say independent for sure.
You think other people could guess that?
Probably, yeah. I would say so.
Do you think that this guy is a Democrat or a Republican?
Probably a Democrat.
Why?
Well, he's walking a dog, and then he's also a minority.
Are you a Democrat or a Republican?
Biden.
Do you think that other people could guess that?
Yeah.
Why? Do you think that this guy is a Democrat or a Republican?
Democrat. He just look like it, bro. You could tell, bro. Look at his glasses, bro, and the way he dressed. Like, look at his shirt. You could just tell he on the spectrum. You feel me?
So I asked this question again: Is the Democratic messaging too feminine? Right? Because you saw that man. Like, he ain't the most masculine dude on the block, right? And it's almost funny that you could probably do a social experiment and know who someone is voting for just the way they present themselves, right? It maybe stereotypes are stereotypes for a reason, right? And I honestly believe that the way the Democratic Party is going, really, this is where I noticed in the black community, right? You're noticing online more black men are willing to be Republican, willing to embrace conservative values, because we have seen the Democrats' policies. We've been voting Democrat for like 50 plus years, and we're stagnant. We're getting the same results. We're not progressing. And in my head, as a man, I'm thinking it from a practical perspective. I'm like, yo, this party's not incentivized to actually address any of the problems that the black community has, because if the black community stays the same, this party is guaranteed to get 90% of the vote, 80% of the vote. What incentive do they have to change? What incentive do they have to give you better opportunities? They don't. They're incentivized to give you scraps and keep you kind of comfortable in your situation. That's the only thing the Democrat will do, because as long as they keep you comfortable in your situation, you'll continue voting for them at an 80% clip. A lot of black Democrats, they don't see this conflict of interest. Instead, they brainwash themselves. Sorry, I know people are going to have a problem with me using that word, but they condition themselves to see that it's a good thing to continue voting Democrat. It's almost like a political version of Stockholm syndrome. Like, these policies aren't benefiting you. They didn't benefit your people since the 60s. When the 60s, they passed the Great Society Act, creating welfare. There's only 20% of the black community that were raised by single moms. Now it's 70%. There's a correlation between poverty and single motherhood. And then you wonder why the black community, there's a racial wealth gap between the communities. But I'm done beating this drum. I want to continue watching this video with James Carwell and see what else he has to say about this topic.
All right? Because Democratic messaging, I'm sorry, is too feminine. It just is.
Okay, James, I'm going to stop you right there, but we're going to keep going, because I want to quote something you said. You told Donnie Deutsch earlier, actually a few weeks ago, on his podcast. I'm going to try to leave out some of the expletives. Here's what you said. Unless you want me to say the words. I mean, okay. So Donnie was asking you about the shrinking male support for Democrats, and you said, and I quote, "I think Democratic culture has too many preachy females. It's too much, don't eat hamburgers, don't watch football, wear a condom. Like, man, shit, leave me the fuck alone, okay? Like,
Don't work out. Don't watch Andrew Tate, right? It's all this stuff. Like, it's almost this, like, and this is a very authoritarian streak that I point out about the liberal Democrat Party, right? Women saying, "Oh, don't say this, don't say that, don't vote for Trump. Why would you vote for Trump?" It's almost this nagging behavior, bro. And I'm like, yo, many men see this as like, yo, y'all not even my wife and y'all doing this to me. Nah, yeah, yo, stay over there. Like, this is why there's a trend of men not wanting to date feminists. And now, you also see this trend with women, Democrat women specifically, where they don't want to associate with anyone that is of an opposing political party. Does that sound very tolerant to you? Is it the point where they won't date if they find out a dude is a Trump supporter, they wouldn't want to date him. But at the same time, they want to date him. You make it make sense. Conflict of interest here. But it's sitting here wagging their finger at you. And I think that kind of messaging really does turn off men, because especially when you don't have the results to back it up. And this is a big problem. Actually, I have an example. Here's a clip of an example of the preachiness that I think a lot of men are turned off by, or a lot of men don't really relate to. Let's take
Talk about things that matter to people. You know, it's the economy, stupid. Okay?
And we keep wondering why these young people aren't coming home to the Democrats, or why blacks are not coming home to the Democrats. Because Democratic messaging is full of shit.
playing chess, not checkers. How is it playing chess? Here's the example I have. This is the fear mongering that I'm talking about. Very emotional, very like unpractical. Doesn't point out any specifics. Oh, a woman's body autonomy. What does that mean? What about a male's autonomy? You're not about equal rights. And this is the problem that I'm starting to notice with Democratic messaging is that it's so catered to the female. It's like the female is the only thing that matters in this country. This is what happens when you are a party that platforms based on identity politics. This is why identity politics is garbage. This is why identity politics will get you nothing in the end. In the long term, everyone will suffer because you're making stuff, oh, for the Asians, for this group, for this gender, for this sexual orientation. There's nothing really bringing the people together. This is why the Democrats are having a hard time with the Palestine issue. Hard time with the Victim Olympics. Every group in their coalition is fighting for to be considered. Oh, look at me, look at my problems. Don't forget about me. This, and it's almost like they're spreading themselves thin. So who's naturally left out? Men. Also, Project 75 has no affiliation with Donald Trump. Check out his actual plan, Agenda 47. If you want to see Trump's plan for 2 terms, right? Making up stuff, typical trying to emotionally manipulate people into going along with the agenda.
Like, I got a goddamn life to lead. And then he said, I call this cosmopolitan condensation. James. I get where you're coming from.
Okay, thank you.
But there are a lot of people for whom, saying that there are too many preachy females might sound like you're a 20th century man in a 21st century country that has changed. So what's wrong with?
Yeah, a lot of the messaging is you go girl, you like. I feel like the Democrats kind of give women a big, like a delusional kind of self-perception of themselves, right? They think, oh yeah, you guys are doing fine, just like Joe Biden. Joe Biden's doing fine. Create a delusion on themselves, and then when reality hit, they go, oh my God, I'm miserable. Oh my God, Biden has dementia, right? But all this time, they've been telling themselves, he doesn't have it, he doesn't have it, he doesn't have it. It's the same thing. I'm getting the sense of the same messaging here. It's one thing if the messaging was true, but it's almost like they're trying to speak it into the existence. Because I've seen a lot of women complain about how they can barely make it in this economy. The economy sucks. Majority of people agree don't believe that we have a strong economy, no matter what these people on mainstream media tells us. But they'll still vote for Joe Biden. But but then the same people, they'll be wagging their fingers in your face and say, no, you got to play checkers. No, sorry, they're playing checkers. You got to play chess, not checkers. I'll leave that for you to decide that.
People say, and by the way, it wasn't Democrats saying don't watch football. That was Republicans, but that's a digression. Talk to me.
Yeah, you don't want to watch a sport where they're trying to preach you about politics, especially when the athlete doesn't know anything he's talking about, right? You just saw a video about the France, right? Mampe, I forgot his name, Moppet, whatever. He's a French forward for the PSG. He tried to tell the French people who to vote for, and French people weren't having it. Oh, I want to be proud to wear the jersey on July 7th. It don't matter what you think, Mampe. And this is the same preachiness that Carwell was just talking about. That's the funny part. The NBA was sitting here trying to preach to people about Black Lives Matter, all this nonsense. And people are like, yo, Black people kill themselves more than any other racial group in America. They should be thinking about how they care about their own lives. People treat you how you treat yourself. So if black on black crime is like, damn, they kill each other for no damn reason. They kill each other over shoes. Why should we care when a white person kills one of your people of your community when you yourselves don't really care about the lives of your own community? You don't go marching on the street when a black man takes another black man's life. All these rappers getting killed by who? Black men. not white Americans, not Asian Americans, not Hispanic Americans, by another Black American. This is the preachiness that James Carwell and me, I know this about the Democrat Party. I say, oh, y'all want to preach all this crap, but y'all don't really believe it.
And other people for whom what you said there is uncomfortable, maybe to some unconscionable.
If you think about democratic messaging, listen to NPR. Read what comes out of there, all right? And you can see it. And I'm sorry, there are too many preachy females in Democratic campaign culture, all right? And we come across to people as judgmental. And that's not good at all. You can come across as understanding. And if the proof is not in the pudding, look at the male number of people that identify as Democrats. And you can keep talking like that, but one of the things that I found out, there are actually people who don't mind losing an election because it makes them feel better and superior. There ain't nothing short of winning. That's what you're about. If you don't win, you don't have shit. You're just running around with talking points. All right? And you don't win elections by telling people that their dietary habits are bad.
Being a vegan.
Or they shouldn't be watching football and drinking beer at the same time. Not good. I got news for you. Football's popular. People watch it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like chivalry. Hey, it's popular, right? Women like it, but what are liberal women telling you not to do? Not to date the certain guy that will give you that lifestyle. Oh, conservative men are racist. Conservative men are bad. Like, it's all this assumptions, all this fear mongering. It's not even real. It's not based on any reality. If you question, oh, hey, what makes you think this idea? How is a group of people that don't consider your skin color racist? They can't give you an answer for that, right? And then the preachiness, it's true. Like, here's another clip from him. I know this is going to be a longer video, but this is them talking about social justice. And then you're going to hear the preachiness, the social justice messaging, anything with the DEI stuff. Oh my God, we got to do representation. That's preachiness. Why should I give someone a job because of what he happens to look like? He's barely qualified. I'd rather get the guy that's the stereotype. I'd rather get a white pilot. There's a reason why they make up majority of pilots. This black guy, yeah, he kind of can fly, but he ain't flying better than this guy right here that I'm considering hiring. So I'm gonna pick him. But no, it's this messaging about looking good and not actually being good. Joe Biden is supposed to look competent without actually being competent. Brag about how everything's fine, everything's fine. Where? Inflation is high as a kite right now. A dude just showed a video 2 years ago. He bought grocery items, 45 bucks, 45 items in the same month. It cost him $146. Now, those same items in 2024 cost him over $400. And everything's fine. Everything's on fire. Everything's fine. Looking good instead of being good. There's a saying they used to say that women fall in love with what they hear and men fall in love with what they see. And I feel like this is politics right here. Men are seeing that, yo, Joe Biden's policies don't work for me. Men are seeing that, yo, it's harder for me to sustain myself of making a living on my own. It's hard to provide for my family. I need that guy, Orange Man, back. I don't care about mean tweets. I need that economy back. I need those opportunities back. Feminine men complaining about black jobs, talking about, oh, look, black unemployment is low, though. Okay, but you don't notice that people are working part-time jobs just to make ends meet? You don't notice that inflation is eating away at your buying power? But you want to sit here and pretend that everything's fine because you want to hold up a narrative? You want to hold up a facade? One thing men don't like people trying to deceive them. And I think that's what the Democratic messaging is coming across, that you're trying to deceive us into believing something that we know is not true. Let's take a look.
What I don't like is identity politics. All right, where someone wants me to look at their identity and not their humanity. I can't do that. I got to look at your humanity first.
But for me, it's not identity politics. It's if people are out there marching in the streets, chanting Black Lives Matter, calling for justice for George Floyd, Is that identity politics, or is that are those Americans demanding that the government and society, and maybe even particularly the Democratic Party, look at their humanity through their lens?
See, that's a very feminine thing to think like. Like, I need someone to come save me. Someone needs to do something for me, when those situations are something that community themselves can address themselves. Because the main reason is look, I'm gonna tell you a brutal reality. The government can't fix the black men killing each other. Government can't fix crime. The only thing they can do is incentivize actions against that. But people who are gonna break or who are gonna do crime are gonna do crime. And there's a big correlation with single motherhood. No one wants to talk about that though. The problem is y'all don't want to talk about the behaviors. The behaviors decide more of the outcome than your superficial skin color. Your behaviors decide your outcomes more than your superficial skin color. It ain't because you black that you're just getting killed on the streets. Look at the rapid gang culture that's going on. Look at Chicago, where the law-abiding black Americans are like essentially being terrorized by the youth of their communities. Stealing, killing, shooting each other. Black people are doing that to themselves. If you look at the amount of black victims are overrepresented of violent crime. How are you 13% of the population, but you make up 30%, 36% of crime victims, and you're that's black on black crime for you. But you only want to talk about things that fit into your narrative. This is what I'm talking about. This deception that it seems like the Democratic Party is trying to do. They're trying to deceive you into believing something that is not necessarily true, or take it out of context because they know it would guide you their way. And I don't like that. I don't like being tricked into voting for something. I like to know the reality of what it is. And that's what Trump provides. Hey, I am who I am. This is who I am. You vote for me or not. These are the policies I'm offering. Done. And I think men can respect that. Like, all right, yeah, I know who you are. Like, you can, but when you sit here trying to lie about this man, saying he's a racist, I'm saying, hey, how you won the double ACP reward then if he was always a racist? But all of a sudden he put R next to his name and he's a racist. This is the type of messaging men look at you and go, Democrats, what the hell are you doing? But they don't see it. Because it seems like all they want to do is galvanize their base instead of trying to reach out to people who necessarily don't want to vote for them or wouldn't naturally vote for them. They don't know how to advocate for their policies. All they know how to do is brown nose and preach to you about how you should believe in this. You're a black man. You should be focusing on racism. No. Because racism can't stop me. I've yet to find someone to make that argument to me. How racism is stopping me? I'm 28 years old, living in a house. I own my own house. Like what's stopping me? The only thing that's different between me and you and another black man on the screen, if he's a victim mentality type of black man, is the actions and decisions that me and that other person made. I made different decisions than you did, so I got different results than you did. Simple equation. But for some reason, we want to make everything about race. At least that's what the Democrats are trying to preach to you. It's not your fault. No, everything's your fault. If you're mad about the life you have, it's your fault. I think that's the direct messaging that a lot of men want to hear. And then there's needs to be a solution here. Here's what you can do about it. Here's how we can help you. The Republicans' messaging is the government can't solve all your problems. Democrat messaging is the Democrats can solve all your problems. And every time the Democrats try, they make everything worse. Look at inflation. Oh, we canceled student loan forgiveness. We gave student loan forgiveness. That means you guys have more money in your pocket, so now you could actually go out there and afford a house. Then you find out student loan forgiveness attributed to 27% of inflation. And then you wonder why the house pricing is so high. You're just back at square one. But to you, you look like he did something. But you don't see that he added to your problems as a whole. Deception. But hey, I digress. I'm gonna end it off there. Let me know what you think. Do you think Democrat messaging is too feminine? And in the comment section, I want to know, how can the Republicans or conservatives capitalize on this blind spot that the Democrats seem to have and are willingly doing? They don't really care, it seems like, about the male vote. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I really do appreciate you guys watching to the end of the video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.